Hello and welcome to the first edition of Global Eye from the BBC World Service. Every week we'll come to you from a different country and bring you the very best of our investigative journalism from every corner of the world. Stories that uncover the harshest realities and those that shine a light on hope and resilience. I'm Noelle El-Makhafi, and for our first edition, I'm somewhere that doesn't make the headlines every day, despite being gripped by violence, hunger and disease. The UN has even called it the world's worst humanitarian crisis. I'm really glad to be back here reporting from Sudan. It's a place that warrants a lot more attention than it gets. Since war broke out between the army and a rival paramilitary group, the RSF, over 2 years ago, over 150,000 people have died, and more than 12 million people have fled their homes to escape the violence. I'll tell you more about that later in the programme. And we'll be in India to bring you the story of these trailblazing female athletes defying all odds to compete on the international stage. Whilst I'm in this busy market in Sudan, we'll first go to Ukraine, where the diplomatic efforts continue to try and bring the war to an end. What's it like for ordinary people living on the front line? Well, my colleagues at BBCi asked residents of Kharkiv, a city that's right at the epicenter of the conflict, to document their lives over 9 months in video diaries. Here are the stories of two of those families.
In February 2022, Russian troops entered the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv just 20 miles from the Russian border.
Оце підвал, де ховалися люди під час перших ударів. Тут можна вижити? Тут неможливо вижити, тому що... А ось так виглядає пряме влучання ракети в будинок. Тут також не можна вижити, і тут не вижили люди.
Parts of the city of Kharkiv were occupied for 6 weeks as Ukrainian forces fought back. Half of the city's 2 million residents fled.
Навесні 22-го року тут залишалися лише поодинокі пенсіонери або люди, яким нікуди їхати.
Меня зовут Анна Гин.
Мене звати Ніколаєва Марина.
Those who remained have continued to experience irregular drone attacks as Russia intensifies its campaign on the city.
Як тільки поговорять про мир, відразу до нас летить навала дронів.
Two women who have refused to leave Kharkiv since the war began agreed to document their lives for BBC Eye.
Я не боюсь, честно говоря, уже ничего, мне кажется, потому что я была в Харькове все это время.
These are the personal stories of people battered by decisions made far away.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
Трамп сказав, що він, робить нам мир, Путін готов до миру, і нам про це нагадує, як він хоче до миру.
А мы всегда говорили, что мы готовы и к переговорам, и к компромиссам.
Ощущение, что нас предали, ощущение, что мир сошел с ума.
Ты не знаешь, что делать. Честно, я прощалась с жизнью. Снежок. Классно, скоро Новый год. Смотрите, какая красота. Если не замечать воронок от ракет в парке и не слышать сирены, то на мгновение может показаться, что это обычный день. И скоро все будут наряжать елку. Мы живем в какой-то степени нормальную жизнь. Она ненормальна, но мы ее живем.
Anna lives alone with her Doberman Hector and her parrot Kira.
Знаешь, испытываю такое, не знаю, чувство благодарности. Я дома. Ну и, конечно, мой дом все еще цел. Так. Потому что в Харькове любую минуту, реально в любую минуту это может закончиться.
Это моя дочь
единственный мой ребенок, с которым, к сожалению, мы живем сейчас раздельно. Война заставила ее уехать из Украины. Я очень скучаю по ней. Но она здесь маленькая, ей здесь 6 лет. А это мои родители. Их забрала война, уже эта война. В 22 году они умерли с разницей в 44 дня. Ракета попала в их двор, и у мамы схватило сердце. Это называется сейчас непрямые жертвы войны. Шестая ракета уже. Сыночек, не бойся. Все хорошо, все хорошо. 6 утра, 25 декабря.
On Christmas Day, Kharkiv was hit by a major missile attack targeting its energy infrastructure. 500,000 people were left without heating as temperatures hovered just above freezing.
Сьогодні Різдво, був досить важкий ранок, Харків обстрілювали, але все більш-менш нормально.
Marina is a single mother to twins.
І все ж таки є дух Різдва, ми його трохи відмічаємо кавою та смачними булочками.
Kharkiv has a multicultural history, and for generations, the city's Russian and Ukrainian populations have lived side by side.
У мене батько був росіянин, він приїхав сюди під час СРСР навчатися. Моя мати українка відсюди.
After the invasion, Marina made the decision to stop speaking Russian.
Ну, іноді лаюсь російською, це якось природне на російській. Поїхали, давайте паровозик робити. Я ж вас...
Паровозик 23!
Безумовно, це діти війни. Вони ж чують вибухи. Безумовно, якось на них це впливає. Безумовно, я як мати кожен день переживаю.
Привет, семья. Ты не засыпай. Нам еще президента смотреть.
Дорогий народе, із перших хвилин цієї війни Америка була з Україною. Я не маю сумніву, що новий американський президент хоче і зможе принести мир та покласти край путінській агресії. Нехай 2025 стане нашим роком.
Eight weeks later, President Zelensky hoped to seal the deal when he visited President Trump in the Oval Office.
You've allowed
From
yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about
From the
it.
very beginning of the war,
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards. But
cards.
right now, you don't.
I'm very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling
I'm the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
After Zelensky is expelled from the White House, the Trump administration stops all military aid and intelligence sharing with Ukraine.
Знаете, совершенно невыносимо включать новости. Мы все в шоковом состоянии. Ощущение, что нас предали. Ощущение, что мир сошел с ума. Когда президент огромной страны, Соединенных Штатов Америки, выворачивает правду наизнанку.
As the international community tries to mend the rift, Marina focuses on preserving a sense of routine for her children. She takes them to visit an animal sanctuary on the outskirts of Kharkiv.
Тут написано?
300 тварин загинуло, зокрема орангутан. Загинуло 6 волонтерів. Майже 5 тисяч тварин було врятовано.
Якщо б цієї Росії не було, тоді б тут все працювало.
Угу.
Вот это вот Сюля маленькая, это вот я, а это ты.
Один, Зайдите, я поверну.
Рашисти вдарили по екопарку, де ми вчора гуляли з дітьми. Вбили козенят, яких ми вчора гладили. Вони прекрасно знають, що там знаходиться, вони там були, вони знають, що там немає ніяких військових об'єктів і просто немає слів. Не буду говорити дітям, що загинули тварини.
The US resumes military aid and intelligence sharing with Ukraine after Kyiv agrees to a 30-day ceasefire.
Почему все сбежались куда-то?
Ты слышишь?
Moscow does not.
Дрони почали летіти, ганяють.
И стрелять?
Ага.
Мам, побежали!
Та ладно.
Мам!
Давай, побежали.
Мам, пошли! За нашу безопасность!
Идите, ваша безопасность, я поснимаю. Знову у Харкові небезпечно. Протягом 5 днів щонайменше Харків просто тероризують дронами росіяни.
It's been a year since Anna last saw her daughter. Now Sasha has made the journey to Kharkiv from her home in Israel.
Я тебя готова обнимать и обнимать, дорогая.
Саша приехал. Ты же радуешься, правда? Или злишься?
With no commercial flights running to Ukraine, it's a difficult journey.
Сутки до Львова и еще 20 часов сюда. Тяжело.
Сьогодні Харків пережив найпотужнішу, наймасштабнішу атаку за весь час війни. Всю ніч ми не спали, ви бачите досі дим. З 2:30 ночі до 5 ранку постійно рашисти бомбардували Харків.
Поэтому, хлопцы, все в ваших...
Ukrainian authorities say Russia attacked the city with 48 drones, 2 missiles and 4 bombs.
Не будемо здаватися, ми будемо стояти, і ми, а вже ж переможемо. Слава Україні!
Это просто трындец. Мы сидели в коридоре, собака сходила с ума, ты не знаешь, что делать. Честно, я прощалась с жизнью. Но все равно вот такого ощущения, как сейчас, вот безнадёги, у меня не было. Может, оно докатилось только. И мне кажется, я сдалась впервые. За эти 3 с лишним года я пошла в аптеку, купила себе успокоительные таблетки. Вот только что выпила, пока не подействовали.
President Trump announces a major shift in US policy by pledging billions in military aid and threatening Russia with tariffs unless Putin agrees to a ceasefire within 50 days.
My conversations with him are always very pleasant. They say he's not a very lovely conversation. And then the missiles go off that night.
Массированный обстрел, опять уже 17 взрывов было. Летит и летит. 50 дней. И еще надо подумать, сколько людей погибнет, что, ради чего, почему. Все задаются одним и тем же вопросом. Почему?
судьбы до утра.
Мені б хотілося, щоб всі ви подумали, який світ ми залишимо нашим дітям та нашим онукам. Тому що мир за будь-яку ціну, несправедливий мир, це знак тоталітаризму, що він може і далі бути головним в цьому світі.
Я не могу уехать. Ну вот не могу и все. Да? Ты хочешь ехать? Вряд ли. А если вы считаете это глупостью, ваше право. Я попыталась объяснить.
You can see the full film on YouTube.
I was here in Sudan this time last year, and so much has happened since then. Back then, the Rapid Support Forces controlled the capital, Khartoum, and the government had been pushed out and was forced to set up here in Port Sudan on the Red Sea. But in May this year, the army fought its way back and it retook the capital. It was a major turning point in this war. But still, the RSF hasn't gone away and it continues to hold large parts of the country. And so the violence continues, and the impact this war has had on civilians is staggering. Out of a population of 46 million people, 12 million are displaced in Sudan. It's one of the largest displacement crises in the world. And with so many people searching for shelter, rent prices have tripled, and the costs of food, fuel, and medicines have skyrocketed, leaving millions struggling to survive.
The current conflict began over 2 years ago when Sudan's de facto leader, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and his deputy, General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, leader of the government's paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, entered a power struggle for supremacy. After fighting between the two sides began, the government declared the 100,000-strong RSF a rebel group. The two sides have been battling for control of the country ever since, with allegations of war crimes on both sides.
Here in the capital, Khartoum, it's been an epicenter of fighting since the conflict began. I've been speaking to people here and they've told me how much harder daily life has become. Parts of the city have become completely uninhabitable, and many of the suburbs are now ghost towns. Water plants have been destroyed in drone attacks by the RSF, and as a result, the cost of water here for a family has skyrocketed to more than $15 a day, and cholera is rife.
And these aren't the most badly affected areas of Sudan. The province of Darfur has suffered recurring violence for decades due to tribal and ethnic conflict. It's a stronghold for the RSF and a constant scene of terrible fighting. It's impossible to enter the capital of North Darfur, Al-Fashir. But earlier this year, a World Service team was able to get cameras to some residents before they fled.
النزوح إحساسه صعب كون أنت تفقد بيتك، تفقد دارك، تفقد كل ما تملك وتجي لحتة تانية أنت ولا بتملك أي شيء.
You can see the full film on YouTube.
While the world's focus is on other conflicts around the world, like in Ukraine and Gaza, the UN has called for an end to the flow of weapons into Sudan and renewed international mediation to put an end to what's clearly a fast escalating crisis.
Every week on this program, we want to give you a guide to some of the most compelling content the World Service has produced across the last few days. I recommend you listen to the new series of our daily podcast, The Global Story, which has just launched, exploring America and the world and how each is shaped by the other. And on the BBC website, you can hear about life inside Gaza, from the local journalists risking their lives to bring us news from the war's front line. Our colleagues at BBC News Arabic have spoken to reporters who are facing their own challenges of finding shelter, water and food for themselves and their families, on top of doing their jobs.
And here's something else we want to share with you from our BBC Hindi team based in Delhi. India has been experiencing something of a Paralympic revolution over the last few years, from winning 4 medals in Rio in 2016 to bagging 29 at last year's Paris Games. And there's a new generation of Indian athletes now competing in international competitions. Well, my colleague Divya Arya has been following 2 remarkable women who have fought to overcome unique challenges.
How do you run on a track that you cannot see? Follow straight lines, turn when they curve, and stop at the finish. Athletes without vision or impairment use a guide runner. For Rakshita, that is Rahul. For Simran, Abhay. The only 2 Indian female athletes with vision impairment to qualify for the Paris Paralympics. It's early 2024 and sprinter Simran Sharma's training is going full throttle. Simran is partially sighted. When she started, Simran used to run alone. The aim was clear, to reach the top, and she was supported by her husband, whom she met while training and later became her coach.
I had asked Simran even before our marriage, what do you want from life? And she said, I want to run. But I had decided that I will take her all the way to the Paralympics.
In 2021, Simran became the first Indian woman to qualify for the 100-meter race at the Tokyo Paralympics. But when she ran, she couldn't follow her line. Her vision had deteriorated.
The 100-meter track is a straight line, but in the middle, there is a line that bends. 3 or 4 times it happened to me that when I ran to the left. They said, now you need a guide runner.
But it's not easy for 2 bodies to run as one. The para-athlete's style, pace and technique need to be perfectly matched by the guide runner. After a few false starts, Simran finally spotted a young athlete, Abhay. But born in a family with modest means in a small town in central India, Abhay had never even met an athlete with visual impairment.
When I ran for the first time, they sent me videos. I'm a fast learner, and after watching them, I thought I'll easily do it. But it's very different in practice.
There was a nervousness. I thought, how would I do it? Because it's not easy to run with another person.
And it all got tested when Abhay and Simran ran together at the 2024 World Para-Athletics Championships. They struck gold. Simran became the world champion in the 200-meter T12 category. But they were disqualified in the 100-meter race.
It was our first competition together, so we didn't realize. He thought he had to stop to let me cross the line first. So he stopped completely and let me go ahead, which meant we got disqualified.
Time is ticking for the 2024 Paris Paralympics, and there is a lot to learn before they are fully synchronized. A task made even harder for Rakshita Raju, an athlete who is fully blind and has to place full faith in her guide and their tether.
I can't see anything.
I can't see anything, so I believe in my guide runner more than myself. I have a lot of confidence in my tether, the guide, and I hold on to the tether, and that protects me when I fall.
Rakshita has come a long way to be able to form this trust. It's not easy to reach the remote village in southern India where she grew up. Born without vision, she lost her parents when she was young and was raised by her grandmother, who is speech and hearing impaired. Their disabilities formed a strong bond.
My grandmother says, growing up, she didn't have parents. Neither did Rakshita. She says she doesn't want Rakshita to end up like her.
Rakshita's physical education teacher in her village school spotted athletic talent in her and took her to the metropolitan city, Bangalore. There, she'd get better resources and find her guide runner and coach, Rahul. Unlike Abhay, he came with experience. He had run as a guide with another blind athlete, Shavad, almost a decade earlier.
I ran as a guide runner with Shavad at the 2014 Asian Para Games in Incheon. He won a bronze medal. That is when I realized that if the athlete wins, I win a medal for the country too. I felt proud.
Rahul and Rakshita ran together and won gold at the 2018 Asian Para Games.
What was the reaction in her village?
I'll show some videos also is there in my mobile. Saying Rakshita, many people wanted to inspire and do sports. In district, so many schools and colleges were there. Everyone came and congratulated her.
In 2023, they bagged their second gold medal at the Asian Para Games, but a Paralympic medal remained out of their reach in Paris. Yet, hope remains because Rakshita has the certainty of a dedicated guide runner and coach in Rahul.
Because there are many like her in villages. They don't know much about sport. She should be a role model for other people, other athletes.
For Simran and Abhay, there was mixed success at the Paris Paralympics. They were well beaten in the 100 meter. But in the 200 meter race, they won bronze and made history. Simran became the first Indian woman with visual impairment to win a Paralympic medal.
I just thought I have to run today and not take any pressure. So I ran. And I didn't even know about the finish till my guide told me we ran my personal best timing, 24.7 seconds.
When I saw that she'd won a medal, I couldn't stop myself. I jumped down from the stands with the Indian flag.
Color gold milana. I need to change this color to gold. That's my dream. Dream to ma'am yahi rahega.
Or if you can dream it, you can do it, ma'am.
It's a shared dream, and with two minds and two bodies driving it, they're determined to make it a reality.
So that's all from us in Sudan. You can see my full reporting from here across BBC News platforms. And next week we'll be in South Korea, which has been embroiled in political turmoil since martial law was imposed last year. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.